friends, family, and everything in between. I welcome you to episode 15 of Phase 10. I am joined today by Trevor, Roth, Gunner, Syllogic, and special guest, Coach of FaZe. We got Didz with us. Welcome, my friends. How's everybody doing today?
Real good, real good.
Doing good. Good.
Rolling.
Doing good, thank you.
Hell yeah. Well, we're officially halfway through the tournament in terms of allotted time. Obviously we have some statistics that we can talk about, but in terms of allotted time, we are halfway through, kind of clearing that hump, if you will. But I know you still had like the scrims, right? And the TPP tournament that was certainly it was something. But either way, we had basically a week off there. How was it?
Sleep schedules were ruined. Stayed up too late. Breakfast for dinner. Went to the buffet a couple times. Slept a lot. Didn't see my team for like 2 full days at one point. Mental reset.
Hell yeah.
Honestly, like straight chilling, went exploring a bit. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah? Okay. Roth, Gunner, Didz? Anything crazy for the week?
Just a little bit of a break. I think I mentioned this like before, but we pretty much treating every week like its own tournament. So it's just a longer reset than the 1 or 2 days you get between the normal weeks. So
For
basically
sure.
going to the second half is a good break.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, we scrimmed a couple of days, but we relaxed a little bit. Like, it's good to just reset, man. It's so stressful, so you got to take your time off.
I can only imagine. Gunner, anything in the pipeline for the week?
Yeah, we just did scrims when like they were available and teams were scrimming, and then went out to eat a couple times, and watched some movies as a team, and that's pretty much it.
Nice.
Like, people playing TDM and stuff like that to just keep like playing the game, but other than that, it's been like a pretty boring week, to be fair. Like,
Yeah.
definitely like when we're playing better.
I can imagine. I didn't know you guys could. I thought you couldn't leave or something like that. I thought you were pretty restricted still currently.
We can't leave the island, but it's like around here. There's like a couple towns and whatnot. That's where I went to. But it's like
It's a big island.
other than that, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Hell yeah. Well, we're literally, so when we said halfway through, CD6 is the man, by the way. For anybody who doesn't know, CD6 is the absolute man. He gave us the statistics, and apparently we're halfway through in terms of time, but in terms of like the prize pool allotment and what's been distributed, we're only 18.26% of the way in there. Obviously, everybody knows the format. It's basically anybody's game. We're kind of talking about it before we went live, but like literally any team could take like the last week, and that might upset the top, But how are you guys feeling moving forward in terms of the tournament? Like mentally, how are you guys feeling moving forward?
We're feeling like really confident. I mean, obviously, like people know like we've made some changes, but we it's been like the talk of the town for a while, but it was a decision the team made, but we're feeling very confident. We've been practicing together, and then obviously, like you just said, like there's like 18% of the prize pool has been distributed, meaning like these next 3 weeks are the most important weeks, really. Like if you win one of these next few weeks, you basically are winning like $500,000 like minimum. So it's I mean, it's definitely pretty wild that this like prize distribution was set up this way. I mean, obviously we've expressed our concerns prior to the event, and even when we got here, how we believe that it should be changed, because like like we said before the show, a team that hasn't qualified like at all or hasn't done anything, and it just literally been like a bottom team the entire event, just randomly comes through and in a 10-game set wins the last week, and then they're crowned like world champions. It's like kind of a joke almost, but I mean, it is what it is. Everyone's going to be happy if they win like one of these next few weeks, so we just gotta, I mean, basically play it just like the other weeks, whether or not there's more money on the line. It shouldn't affect how hard the teams play. I mean, everyone should have been giving it their all from the start, but it's definitely crazy that 18% of the prize pool has been distributed thus far, and we're halfway through.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of like Didz touched on. That's how we're approaching it, though. Is that I mean, every week's its own tournament. So yeah, like 18% of the total prize pool for the event, but like these are all separate tournaments to us. You know, like and yeah, they'll get more stressful as the weeks go on. And I know that's the thing for like all the players. Even like I know the staff that helps us out, like our player handlers, they got a meeting this morning that they got told like players might be a little more touchy in the next couple of weeks, like give them room, like because it's going to get really stressful potentially. But you just have to look at it like every week's a different event. So and the rules are play, but that's how it is. So that's
Right.
our approach.
I think another interesting thing is if you look at the distribution, Sonics is a good example, but we have 2 teams that have won the first game, but they just have money based on the first game of the weekly series. So you win the 10K, which equals to like almost just like over double that now, probably a little more than that with the crowdfunding, but like that's where they got all their money from. They haven't gotten anything from top 4s and weekly finals.
Yeah.
Just that very first game, like so much money is going into like those first, like I would say the first game, but then even all the games up till 8th. That could have been like in the weekly final prize pool distribution, probably like top 8 is what I would have put it at, so that it keeps things.
Yeah. I mean that even
It's
applies to us. Like we got 6 in a weekly final and got nothing for it, but we got 4th win, so that's all our money right now. So we literally sat in a building and did nothing and won more than getting 6 in like the hardest on paper, the hardest final we've ever competed in was as a team with the hardest teams. So and it literally meant nothing compared to like us sitting in a building doing nothing for 27 minutes. So that's the event. So
Very true. Very true.
It's like the biggest gripe is like the top 4 thing, honestly. It's like could have been top 6 easily.
Mm-hmm.
Top 8 or even top 16, you make it to the final, you make a little bit, make like
Right.
$2,000 for 16th or $1,000 for 16th and scale it way up. But
Yeah.
whatever.
I think it's crazy because you touch on that and you're like, the prize pool is going to be all the last 3 weeks. And it's something that I went into the final week with my guys and, we were kind of like hard on ourselves because, we made the last 2 weekly finals. We haven't performed to what we felt we should have performed to. And that's a hard thing to like sit there and deal with. You always have that chance to make money. You want to make that money and you want to be the best team you can be. But I was telling them like, listen, man, I'm like, it's not a sprint. I'm like, all your money comes later. I'm like, what we should be gearing up towards and understanding is that you still have 16 chances the next time you compete. I'm like, be glad you qualified for this one. You could be one of the teams that is in 32nd and doesn't get a chance to compete for the 175K that is for this week or whatever it may be. So you just got to take your positives where you can take them and try to gear up for that final week because that final week is where it's going to be at. Like you want to be the best team you can be rolling into week 6 because, if you win week 6, you're going home happy.
Right.
Yeah, basically every team from now on that wins the weekly final is going to be the new like team on top. Like unless it's a double, like let's say since we won the 3rd week, if we win 4 and 5 and then another team wins the final, like we may still have more money than them, but that's the only like
you will, yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's so strange.
But like, I mean, I'm like trying to like the fact that it's only top 4 and obviously the quality of the teams, there goes Syllogic, but like it's not easy to consistently get top 4, like it's just it just isn't. I mean, if you look at us, like it basically took, I mean, we got into the top 4 on 2 really good last games on week 1 and in week 3. Like otherwise we weren't in the top 4 really at all, but we just had like killer last games that just put us in the top 4 that basically made us one of the more consistent teams. But like in a 10-game format, that's like, it's just madness that it's going to come down to literally the last game for basically $1 million more than likely. And then someone just has like a crazy last game that's still in the running. It's just, they're millionaires.
Well,
like
I was talking about it. Think about like, what was it, phase 2 of PCS in North America? SDK and Veritas finished tied, and the only reason you guys win is because you had 1 extra kill or whatever the hell it is, right? Could you imagine being in that scenario and you go into that final week and, it's a difference between $1 million and whatever second place is, and you finish on a tie? Think about how you feel. Like second place, you'd be happy, but I was talking with Trevor over breakfast about this. Like going home, you'd be like, oh shit, we made 600K or whatever, but we missed out on the $1 million by a tie. Yeah, you'd be heartbroken over it and happy at the same time. It'd be a crazy feeling.
Yep.
There's definitely a lot of narratives heading into these weeks that
Mhm.
are could be nuts. So that's for sure.
Right. One of the big questions I've gotten from people, and one thing that I've noticed is like, what are teams going to be doing moving forward? You know, what kind of adjustments have you guys been making, if any, through this last week that have been like notable that you would feel comfortable discussing, outside of like, you know, anything too?
Win a game.
What did you say?
Win a game.
Win a game. He
Win a
said.
game during the week.
Right. But I mean, surely it can't be that simple, right?
I don't know. There's a lot that you see. Yeah, there's everyone, you know, thinks the meta or whatever it may be. I think teams have pretty much figured it out. You know, either you catch 9 and you're lucky and you win the game, or you frag you frag the hell out of the lobby and you win the game, whatever that may be, right? But you got to work your ass off and figure out your zones and figure out where your win cons are in the survival meta, and you know, hope you get lucky and win that game, because I think some part of PUBG comes down to luck at some point, and a lot of it is skill. The luck part comes in catching all the circles, but and then you work on the survival, or not the weekly final, man, where it's like you got to come out and you got to play to your strengths, and you got to play to how your team plays, and understand the lobby, and every week is different. So that's the rough part with PUBG, is usually in these finals you have multiple weeks to figure it out, to adjust. One week you got FaZe, Sonics, and the next week you got Tiamba, TSG. You know, you got all these different teams. They're all talented. They all play different. So
It's a really good point. It's a really, really good point.
I think that's the thing too, is that like you see the teams that come in and out, but also like there are some regulars, but like there's also teams that you would think are regulars that aren't, and like, you know, like it changes everything pretty much. It's, I guess, like the approach you can take is like, you know, like you kind of have to stay like stoic in terms of like just knowing, like, you know, having the knowledge, but also like not changing your approach drastically, like to continue your winning ways, I say.
Mm-hmm. It's intriguing. I didn't really think about that. Like, to kind of like circle back to what Roth had said, I hadn't really thought about the fact that like you, throughout the PCS, like, you know, PCS 1, 2, and 3, you heard, well, I guess I should charity, but through that whole block of tournaments, you really did have that time. Once you're through group stages, like, okay, cool, let me sit down, let me study these other teams that are in the lobby with me, the people around my drop location, and so forth. You don't have that luxury here at all.
You could go, from our perspective, you can go one weekly final, and you have no team at shelter. So all your air and go rotations to the west are pretty quick. You can go straight down through the middle, you know. And then this week you got MCG, and MCG plays slow. They like to cut everything off. So all those rotations are cut off. Everything's different. And you could have a team Ludin Lipovka. You could have a team, you know, you could be free on the east one week, and you could be crowded on the east the next. And it's like, it changes everything, and it makes it really hard. And it's actually really exciting, because it could impact any team that way.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we've been landing multiple different spots like throughout the event thus far. Like, I mean, we probably have looted like more like different spots than most or all other teams. Like, I mean, I don't know for a fact, but like, I mean, you know, basically, contesting is when you need to win a game is just kind of pointless. Like for us, and like obviously, like in our situation where like we want Hossie. Like, there's just no way to get it if 4 a.m.'s in the lobby, because, you know, like they make so much damn money, and you obviously see what they do against DA. Like, they're just not really going to give it up in a format or a tournament like this. Like, they're just going to be like, oh, you know, like it's whatever. Like, so for us, we've been adjusting to like looting different spots, and then, you know, obviously in preparation beforehand, figuring out what teams around us do and what they like to prioritize and how they like to rotate. And then it's collectively, when it comes into the game, like, you know, we basically bring up, like, you know, we look at every different zone or the common zones, and then it just clicks in everyone's head, like basically like, hey, well, this team did this team did that. And then, you know, we make rotations like accordingly, like, but you know, it's been pretty crazy, like just like having to basically look at the lobby and be like, all right, well, you know, we could loot here for free, or we could loot here for free. Like, you know, typically we just get whatever loot spot we really want, and then we're, you know, only have to worry about that. But in this situation, when there's a lot of teams that either feel like, well, there's some teams that are just playing for nothing and are stubborn, and like they almost like know they don't have a chance, And then you have other teams that just like are like really good and make a shit ton of money, and aren't going to give up a drop spot just because of that. Like, especially to people like us, like we're the only team that's not in org gear, so it's not like we're getting a salary to come here and play. These guys are still getting paid monthly to come here and play, and they're not going to give up their spot to STK if you're 4 a.m. So it
Yeah,
is
I mean,
what
look
it
at
is.
the TPP thing. Look at the boxing match thing. Like, that's two
Yeah.
Chinese teams that literally don't care. Their money, the money is not worth it for them to care much, so they just had fun with it, and it was good for the fans, it was good for the viewers, but like you know what the reasoning behind it is. Like,
Just having pure fun because they can. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got fined for that, right?
Nobody
No.
knows.
No?
I doubt
They-
it, but yeah.
They got promotional material from that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they've just been tweeting it out. Like, I highly doubt they got fined for that.
I don't know. I just
Yeah,
think it's go ahead, still.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's really hypocritical because like it happened in NA once in MPL, and then they all got fined for it. And this is like, sure, it was promoted, but like this is being promoted like in front of a way bigger audience. So like nobody knows if they got fined or not. I doubt it, but yeah.
I mean, they're not going to. It's. I mean,
Yeah, they're not going
obviously,
to.
like,
It's
I mean,
China.
it doesn't-
They have all the money, so they're not going to. Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean,
it
doesn't
is
even
kind of
matter.
different though, because it was a show match in comparison to an actual
Exactly.
league where it mattered.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Like in MPL, you were always basically playing for like points towards like a PGC or things like that. Like in this, it was just it was
Didn't
just
they
for
do that
some
during
money. So
Royale?
all they did was basically give Oath a chance to make 30K, like, or make more money. So I mean, it is what it is. Like, they're not gonna get fined.
I do want to mention that we are the #1 TPP team from North America. We had 2 more points than Sonics. So we are better. Sonics and us are both better than all Korean teams at TPP. That's been clearly shown, and we are 2 points better than them. So I'll take that crown for the team, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, but Snaker said you're still not good enough.
True.
It happened during the Royale.
Yeah, was it? Did it happen in Royale? I thought that's
I don't know.
Phase
I didn't know if it was the Royale or if it was
Phase 2
MPL.
Royale.
I think it
boy,
did. I think it did.
It was Phase 2 Royale qualifiers. My boy Pat here gave Rumblers the hands and got fined for it because it was just too brutal for American eyes. So
That's fair.
unfortunate.
It is what it is. Though.
Yeah. But yeah, Snickers is looking for a new squad for all TPP events coming up. So get him while he's hot, guys.
Oh man, he'll complete the rosters. It's funny because I was wondering about that when I did see that, because I didn't watch every single turn or every single match of this last weekend, but I did see that jumping kind of like boxing thing, and I thought like, oh, like that's funny as like a viewer, but then it did sink in when I thought like, yo, isn't this for like $60,000? Like that's a lot. That's more money than tons have.
Because we were doing the math and it was only 1 point off, but like if we had one less point, like, and they're boxing and they get 4 kills, like we can't even catch them because they were just got like 4 free kills. So
wow.
Or if they had gotten 1 more placement point, like if they had gotten 2nd place or something,
Yeah,
like we wouldn't have been able to
about
pass
to.
them. So like like in our comms, like we were molding, like they were getting so upset. They were like, they're just feeding kills to Ifty, so if we can't catch them. And
Man, you know what would have been hilarious is seeing you guys just fly through poach, seat swap.
they talked about it. No, they were literally talking about it because they were like, why are they fighting? Because they didn't realize it. Because the first one was a punch out, and then they were like, okay, well, it's a hot drop. Like maybe they ran out of ammo and they just flushed the guy with a punch. And there was like 2 more punch outs, so they figured out they were boxing in the comms. Like it's fun when you listen to your guys because they have no clue, right? And then they're playing, so like they're deciphering it just from kill feed. Like, dude, they're like fighting. They were so upset. They're like, this is bull. This is like what the hell? They're just. And then they're like, we should just drive by through poach as soon as we find them. Then they got the hard shift of that circle, and then TSM started drive buying them. So we just had our own Mad Max thing out there. It ended up working out, but it was, yeah. It's kind of, I mean, from a competitive standpoint, yeah, it's kind of BS, but yeah, it's for fun tournament, whatever. But
Yeah, it's like, like we were all talking about this. Like, yeah, it was a for fun tournament, but there was way better ways to have fun than just have like TPP and like really incredibly fast circles and like guaranteed placement points and all this other stuff. Like they could have done like multinational mixed teams. And
I mean,
like,
Sean and I were talking about
bombs.
like how cool would it have been if there was a mini it's not Halo. There was a mini like Nations Cup in the middle of this because there's like 4 regions of teams here, right? And like you had to like sub, like we were making up rules like you sub in 2 players from every game, right? So there's 4 NA teams. Every game you sub in 2 players. Like, all right, next game we're sending in Luke and Snakers, all right? And like,
Yeah.
you know, like
They have like
okay,
NA versus C.
they're coming
versus,
out. We're
like,
you know we're
Korea.
sending in Tig and Trimsy in the next game. You know that shit would have been so fun.
Yeah. Like if they're gonna do a 14 thing, they could have easily done like NA versus C versus Asia versus EU.
Yeah,
And they could have made it like
Mhm.
you have to sub
That
in
would-
2 players after every game. So like players can only play 2 games maximum. You have to have like players subbed in.
or you could just swap the whole lineup, and so
Well-
they could have the other team set
Yeah.
up in a different
They
booth.
could have
Like
done
we're
something like
swapping
that.
to a new NA squad. But
It's
you
a,
can't have there's
even if
way
it's
more
a-
things they could have done.
for a fun event, you could put random players together from the teams that are here, and like the language barrier with comms would be hilarious to watch.
Yeah.
If you really thought about it,
True.
you could just
If
go,
they
hey,
just-
you
they could
4
have
on a
the-
team, you
yeah,
4 on
they
a
could have-
team, live comms the entire time, and you know, you're like, what the fuck is this guy saying to me? But let's go do it, you know, like.
Yeah, people would have loved that. I mean, literally, if it would have drew in so many viewers, like people would have, and it also would have created like fans for like other, people. Like, so for instance, say Alo, who's bugging me, was playing with, some of the guys from like Brew and Genji and stuff, and like they were doing good. Like, he will instantly just draw and like get fans just off of like that, and
Mhm.
listening to their comms together. But I mean, it is what it is. Unfortunately, like we weren't like no one really asked us our opinion on things and what we
Well,
want
no
to
one
do.
knew
So
the
we,
TPP event was happening until like week 2. Like that's when they like told us like, by the way, we're doing this event. Like up until we got here, they were just like, the 4th week is going to be a separate event. And we were like, what's the event? And like, we don't know yet.
Yeah, it's just like survival
Sorry,
tournament.
Bill got owned.
We're sitting there like, oh, like what could this be? And then it comes out and we're like, wait, it's TPP. Like it's like
Right.
okay, like we were like,
I
yo,
mean, to
this
be fair, I
is
really
all-star
understand the TPP aspect. It's like the most played version of the game, like especially like
Mm-hmm.
in the Asian regions, which is where all the viewership draws from, and all like the majority of the money for everything. So I understand the TPP thing. I'm not as upset about that, but just like the overall like how the game's played out, the format and stuff just seemed dumb. Like it's very snowbally, obviously. So I don't
Yeah.
really mind the TPP thing.
I mean, they did it. It's over now. We move
Yeah.
on. Hopefully, they learn from it, and yeah.
All
It's
I've
good
learned
feedback.
is that if they consulted us before we ran an event, it'd probably be pretty sick, but they never will.
They may. We'll
Right.
see.
That's
yeah,
gotta be
maybe
the
after
hope.
this, maybe.
That's got to be the hope, because I think it's challenging, because PUBG has like this nature to it, right? It's like almost inherently competitive. I don't want to say almost. It's competitive. Even on a casual level, your casual players, if you've been sticking it through this game, for all these years, like most likely you're a more competitively inclined person, right? It's kind of wild to go so many years in and put on a for fun tournament when the nature of the game is just so truly competitive. I think I agree with you guys though, 100%. I think there could be better execution, and maybe they will.
Well, it's
Maybe
hard
they
to
will reach
call
out.
it like a for fun tournament for the players when the first place prize is like second in the PCS and
Yeah.
like second in the major for us basically, or whatever you want to call it. So
They could remove
mean,
the prize pool.
yeah,
from it.
if there was no
Or
prize
done
pool, it
something
wouldn't.
else, like some
Yeah,
sort
if
of
they wanted to
other
be for
prize.
fun, and there was like no prize pool or like only rewards for like fun stuff, like most frag grenade kills. I know like yesterday the first guy to get a frag grenade kill in the final got a free monitor, but don't even like advertise that stuff. But like,
And then, like,
if there
the
was like a bunch
mo-
of fun rewards, then it would have been cool. But like when you like slap a bunch of money onto it, like we left the like arena yesterday like tilted, like everybody was smalding, and I just got home and I was like, guys, are like chill, like it's over now, like it's a dumb event.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
going into the event, like my team was like, yeah, it's just for fun. Like we're just gonna enjoy ourselves. But the second they got into the server, like they know money is on the line, and they instantly like just turn on and
Yeah,
start playing
exactly,
like
yeah.
super serious. And when they don't
can't turn
qualify
that
like
off.
off the first group, like they're like kind of upset. Like we were kind of upset walking back, and then we got over it really quickly because we realized like it's done,
Yeah.
it's over with. Like it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But in the moment when they get in the server, they're like, this is for money. We're playing our best. Like
100%.
Yeah, it's kind of like we also got this feedback where it's like, oh, it's not a championship, it's an invitational, and it's like, well, if you're gonna put like a multi-million dollars on the line,
If
it's
we're
like,
playing for $1 million, like
yeah, if you're gonna
it's a
tag money
championship,
onto
bro.
it, like like there's and then there's that much to play for. It's like you can't tell us like guys don't take it too seriously or something like that. It's like
Mhm.
like you don't understand what it's like competing for it. It's like you're on like a fantastic 401k for PUBG, and it's like sure, like like it's like sure, like for like winners, like like the like survival week like aspects, like TPP, like like those survival tournament aspects, like those kind of aspects, like sure, it's like fun for the viewership, but it's like how mentally, like how taxing is it on the players, like if for you to like kind of put this like mental warfare on constantly, but at the same time, it's like it's like they're like it being a huge spectacle and it being like a huge like like a way that money comes into PUBG is like a great thing, but it's like you wonder what else like comes with it. It's like because the PUBG new state was revealed, the like PUBG Mobile 2 essentially.
Mhm.
Like that is like you like we can see like certain aspects of it that like we can like see in like PUBG PC at the moment. And there's like new aspects and whatnot, and you wonder like like is there going to be like more to it than just a tournament? Also, it's like if they're going to throw on like a spectacle like this, it's like are they going to utilize this platform for something else? That's like another thing I want to know too. It's like if we know like like with the data leakers and whatnot that PUBG 2 will be a thing, which we know now. It's like are they going to use this platform to like push something? Because last year like like they like with PGC and whatnot, like pretty much every single time there was a major event, there was a platform for something. But like obviously like PGC didn't have that. It's like that's like another thing we're worried about too. It's like like when they have these events and like if they're telling us like oh like this is just PGI, this is just an invitational. It's like what does that mean for PGC kind of thing? Like, is PGC going to be like your traditional last year style knockouts like after like every every other week or something like that? It's like you just wonder like what kind of format they're thinking about, because it's like for an invitational, sure, but like for a championship, like like it could be different. But for us as players and for us as competitors, everything's the same. It's like it's a tournament, and we take it, like we go full on.
100%.
Yeah, and then it's always gonna have like a stress like level for the players and awares. Like we've talked about just in the first couple of weeks how stressful this event has been, like even especially for us coaches and stuff, like sitting in the practice room like on a survival week waiting for our win to happen, even if our guys are playing good. And sometimes it doesn't come, sometimes it does, and it's only going to get like more and more stressful. Like I was talking this a lot with Nomi, who's like our assistant coach here, and I don't think there's ever been an event this long. Like I don't think even like any PEL splits or NPL splits were this long, and also there's never been an event that's obviously international this long, and where you're away from home, and you're like constantly like, it definitely wears on the players. Like we've had little like nitpicky things within our team that like I've squashed or like stuff like that, and I just assume like we were joking like, how many teams do you think are gonna like make changes when they go home from this event, because like their players are just probably at each other's throats by the end of it, because you're under so much stress going into these like last couple of weeks, and you're like seeing each other all day. Because like at home, when you're done with your scrims for the day, you're done with your events for the day, even for like me, like you check out, like you clock out, you get off your computer and you go live your life, and you're like eat dinner with your friends, your family. Yeah, and here it's like you get out of the server with that guy maybe annoyed you just a touch, like, and then you're like having to like be around them all the time. So luckily like on our situation, like we're all pretty good friends, like we eat every meal together and everything works out for us. But like you can start to see like lines drawn in other teams, like who eats with who, and like some people never eat with their team. And I'm just assuming from a third party view, like of what's going on with other teams, but it's like the stress level of an event this long with this much on the line, and how the format works is it where it's inherently stressful, added with all those other things, is like it's just crazy. So like these last couple of weeks is about, for a lot of teams, I feel like it's like holding the ship together and hoping for the best. But
it's a lot to juggle. I mean,
Yeah.
you even add in there like for the MPL and PL splits, most of the teams had houses and they're like chilling in their homes and they have their own rooms and stuff. But like hotel living is completely different from that.
And on top of that,
we're also limited to the amount of food that, and like different foods that we can eat, and like that's a factor as well. Like so many things come into play that
where we can go. Like we can't leave. We can't really go anywhere. Like there's two cities, but they're basically like like farm towns, like for the most part, like they're not big cities. And there's like there's like one fast food restaurant on the island. They're like, the guys are like craving like some normal food. And it's just, there's a lot of stress factors that go into this, like outside of the game, that are like adding to the players in the game. So when like things go wrong, it seems like a much bigger deal in the moment to a few of them than it actually is. And then we get out and we'll talk about it and everything's fine, but it's just going to get 10x every week from here on out. So
Yeah.
that's like the biggest thing about this tournament.
Yeah, there's like a correlation between like, prize pool going up every single week, but also knowing that, like if you don't finish top 4, you get none of it, kind of thing. It's like, sure, like the weekly survival games like have that tag on it if you're one of the first 8 winners, but beyond that, it's like, okay, we have to bang out games if we want to even get in there. And SDK's been able to do that consistently throughout the weekly finals, but like it's like, like just like imagine that one time where they just like, don't get it. It's like hugely stressful because even like, even if they're like top 4 and whatnot, like there's people that want to win, and like there's teams here that will do no matter what it takes to win. And like that is a mindset that's also very taxing too, because you can't just say, oh, I want to win. It's like that effort has to be put in and whatnot. And it's just like, like essentially with how high it's going the next few weeks is nuts. Like we've talked about it, like, me, Trevor, Gunner, like Didz, everybody was like, yeah, this tournament's so stressful. It's like since week 1, we're like, dude, imagine week 6, imagine week 6, imagine week 6. Like, it's like, I don't even know what's gonna be like.
We're not happy at all with like top 4. Like, like I said, we got top 4 off of 2 really good last games. Like that, it's rewarding at the time, but like, when you actually go back and you look at all of the games and everything, like, and you see how shitty you played, like, it's just like, it's really not that rewarding. And it's especially less rewarding when you're doing it, in the first couple weeks. Like, we got second place the first week, but that's like a quarter of what 4th place is going to get in freaking, the upcoming weeks.
This
So,
week, yeah.
or this week. Yeah. So it's like, like we didn't come here to, get 4th place and be consistently the 4th best team in the world. Like, we came here to be the best team in the world and to leave with the most money. So it's like, there's nothing satisfying really at the end of the day when you're looking over the VODs and you see how poor you played, with the exception of a couple good games where we just kill everybody and then we have the most kill points and freaking 13 placement points or some shit. Like, like it's not rewarding. Like, and realistically, like for the mindset of everyone on this team is like, it's, if we're not in first place, then we're not really satisfied. Like, getting 4th place is just not going to cut it. So, yeah.
Shouldn't that be the mindset of everybody though? Like if you're a competitor, right? If you're here competing, this is your job, right? And you're not here to get 4th, you're not here to get 3rd. If even if you get the money's great, right? But you're here to win. And you're here at the end to be the team with the most money so that you can hold the trophy up and be like, hey, listen, we were the best. And if that's not your mindset, then you're probably not in it for the right reason, So
that's kind of what Gunner was saying, I guess, because like he's saying, they're playing well for the last game, but like they know they're an experienced team. They've been in a situation before where there's nothing else to play for. They have to play their best in that last game, and they get what they're given. Like they know that they played bad in the other games, and that could have made a big difference of like getting 3rd, 2nd, 1st, which is first is what they want. But in that last game, like what else are they going to do but play their best to get the most money they can? 100%. And that's what they did. So
100%. And like we had that discussion in the last weekly final. I think we were sitting like 13th or 12th, and they're like, well, we could get 9th. And I'm like, what's the difference? Like I go, what's the difference between 9th, 13th, 16th, and 5th? There's no difference. Like we didn't play well. I'm like, let's move on to the next week. Let's not harp on it. We come back in and we gear up to try to get 1st the next week. Because like you're not here to make yourself look good. You're here to compete. You're here to do the best you can. You're here to win. And if you're not winning, then you're not. You shouldn't be okay with it, in my opinion. So like I get it. I get what Gunner's saying. Like if you're not 3rd or 4th is great, but you end up going back looking at all those games and being like, damn man, we could have been 1st.
And Logic actually brought up another good point. Sorry to interrupt, but there's 2 teams here, Oath and SDK, that have made every weekly final so far, and 3 of us have been there where we missed a weekly final. So like, what's the like mentality on how you guys are going to deal with that when, like, let's say if that happens. I'm not saying when, just if that happens. Like, we've already dealt with it. So if it happens to us again, we kind of know how to deal with it in a sense. Obviously, it's a later week, so it's like more on the line and more we're losing out on. But yeah, it's something to think about for sure.
That, and off that point, like, we've made every weekly final, but we haven't made any money in the weekly final. So like we have to go look at a leaderboard where it's like Sonics won the first game of the tournament and they're ahead of us on the leaderboard, and they haven't, no offense, like done anything since. Like, we've technically been playing better than them, and like maybe they'll catch their win and they'll do great. But like, so to this point, like, we've made every final, we're playing everything. It's like, oh, we're still behind them on the overall leaderboard because of how this thing is set up. So that also has like a taxing effect, I think, on some teams. Like, I definitely have talked about them with them. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, the leaderboard's so stupid for this event, but yeah, we'll just roll with the punches. This whole event is like a mental Olympics. Like, I'm actually like super thankful for this event. I've said it a few times because I feel like our coming out of this, like, our team's going to be so much stronger. All the teams that were here, it's like they've been through the shit, so to speak.
Literally
like,
through the gauntlet.
Yeah, like, so like players come out of this thing like hardened, like ready to rock, like throw anything at us, like a PCS, whatever. Let's go. So
that's been something on my mind most definitely. I'm still as a viewer and as a fan, watching basically every single game I can, but I'm also thinking about what that's going to look like when everybody does return home. You know what I'm saying? The implications of that, and how the teams that didn't make it, to come out here are going to have to adjust to the difference in play styles and skills that these players are going to be coming back with. It's going to be interesting to watch. It's going to make for a very interesting, if they call the next cycle, PCS, the next PCS cycle or whatever would take its place. It'll be really intriguing to watch, see how that all shakes out.
Yeah, like, it's like, going back home and know, well, at least like through that, like we know like from here, like, oh, we know what's next. Like, like two third party events and then 2 PCSs before the next PGC, like the next major PUBG event. It's like at least we know what's like ahead of us. But I feel like like the teams that were invited here have that advantage of like having been through all this, and they're just like like they've been through the gauntlet. So like they go back with that chip on the shoulder where like, okay, we know what we need to do, like we know what it takes to like push forward. But it's like you also wonder like for the teams that are like falling apart in a sense, like whether it's mentally or not, it's like how like do they look on the outside rather than the inside of the team and whatnot? It's like there's going to be a bunch of changes that follow. It's not just going to be like tournament formats or whatever. It's just going to be like centered around a lot of teams, because I'm pretty sure like while this was an invitational and there's a lot of people brought here, it's like there's going to be a lot of people going out and never coming back to the same teams too. I'm pretty sure. Like who knows?
For sure. I had a question I was going to ask. I don't know. It vanished from my brain in the midst of listening to Syl there. But either way, I'll double back to it. But either way, coming up into week 4, is it too early to say that teams that consistently are making this win, do you guys think that they're going to continue on this same path, or do you think people are going to come off of this week, like in terms of the competition, come back even harder to prevent that from being a thing? And are we going to start to see some of those? We mentioned it before, but teams potentially sabotaging other teams. Do we see that potentially playing a role going into week 4, 5, and 6?
That's definitely a possibility. It's like, I think the one thing I forgot to mention about like that halfway point that we're at is that like this halfway point in this survival week was like pretty much like a huge like reset. Like pretty much everyone's momentum has been reset. Like aside from like maybe like I mean the TPP thing, like like the game was absolutely different, and like it's like this huge momentum reset of where now like people know where they stand halfway, and like some people are going to be going harder for weekly survival because they haven't made it yet, or they like want to make the rest. Some people are going to like continue what they're doing. Some people are going to like tone it down. Like it's possible that like remember how you said like the targeting thing, like like going into weeks 4, 5, and 6, like some of these teams like they might not care. Like they might just like to have these continue having these pride fights, like DA and 4AM over J. Like it's like you don't. It's like we'll never know until that moment comes. But until like we get in there, it's like anything can happen. Because like same thing with like the drops. Like going like from week to week. Like SDK goes like mill base 1 week, and then Divine's not there. They go Yaz 1 week, and then on Miramar they go
They
like
can go. SE can go mill base anytime they want.
yeah, and it's like
Guaranteed milli
let's
circle.
say 4AM doesn't make it this week because they did bad in the reseeding or something, and then like SDK can go back to playing Hasi, and it's like all these things that are just completely changing, like pretty much like like it makes me agree with that sentiment of where Didz was talking about. Oh, like it's a new tournament every single week. It's different every single week. There hasn't been a weekly final in which I like it's like been like 8 out of the 16 teams have been like consistently the same sometimes. It's like
Let's even think about it this way, is in terms of like the SDK thing, right? You guys didn't even go Hasi in the week 3, and I don't think 4AM was even there because Divine decided they wanted to go and they weren't going to leave either, right? So like it could be.
We were. I mean, to be fair, we were looting San Martin and Hasi.
Yeah.
And
they're
then
being greedy.
I mean, you know how we are. Like, I mean, if no one's gonna take it, then we will. You know, like it's just it is what it is. Like, I mean, yeah. So I mean, we were looting San Martin and Hasi, and then obviously, like, finally, Divine's probably like, what are these stupid Americans doing? Like, let's let's take some of their loot or whatever. And then again, in that situation as well, like they weren't really in a position where they could win a lot of money. So we instantly just have to back off of that because we felt like we were in a position to win money, and we did win money backing off of it. So there's so many decisions that come into play, like right then and there. But like like Flux was saying about like dropping on people, like there's 110% for the remainder of the weeks going to be like teams that are going to like at the end drop on another region team almost, and like like even I mean FaZe might even get us back from the freaking ranking decision, but like that wasn't even personal. Like that was literally nobody can test FaZe for their loot spots, and we knew we were in a position that we could potentially for the first week loot their spots, which would have been tremendous for us. So like obviously we made that call right then and there, like, hey, like we could have Milta and Monty, should we do it, like and then obviously we made that call. But like coming into like these later weeks, like where you have, I mean, there's probably there's always gonna be like 4 to 5 teams towards the end of the like weekly finals, like coming into like game 7 or like maybe like 8, 9, and 10 that don't have a chance really, and they have nothing to play for. Like they really don't. Like obviously, I mean, if they were to go out and win like 3 games in a row, yeah, sure, of course, to be in the top 4. But if you're sitting at like 13 or 15 points and you've already played 8 games, like it's probably not going to happen at this point that you're going to win 3 games in a row. So when they have nothing to play for, there is going to be hot drops, and like it's how the tournament format was set up. Basically, they literally, when it's set up as top 4, there's a lot of teams that have nothing to play for. So it's probably going to be a huge mess, and I can almost guarantee that in that final week, someone is going to get screwed out of that $1 million off of a team that basically has nothing to lose, and perform poorly, and it is going to be the talk of the town, like that's for sure.
I tell you what, just right now, if by the grace of God we're in fucking first or second going into the last couple games, we are not looting where we usually do. I'm out. I'm gone.
Yeah, I mean that's the decision that you have to be made, right?
You're gonna be watching the back of the plane.
Like, oh, no one dropped their reaction drop. This is
You shouldn't
NA
have said that, dude. You shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, we'll find you.
Yeah. That was like Roth going out playing
We'll do the 4 corner strat. We'll do the 4 corner strat.
There you go. That is what I was gonna ask. Oh, sorry, no, go Didz. I'll come back to this.
Just to add, like it circles back to like Gunner saying it's the format. Obviously, like with the hot drop thing, like it can be unsportsmanlike in certain situations, but for most of the times we've seen it, the instance with Oath and Ifty, like that was what I assume because of the bridge camp that happened.
Yeah, it was a
and
payback
like
drop.
that would not have happened if not for that bridge camp. And that's another thing that comes into play is like there's been some times where we're thinking about bridge camping, but why would we? Because then whatever team suffers from it, like they're just going to come back at it because the format allows them to do so. And those opportunities are just going to be a part of the tournament. And we're like, we don't want to be in that position. So it's like another thing you have to think about when you're making decisions in game.
For sure. For sure. To double back to the point I lost forever ago, is one thing that I did like about this format, if I can say something positive about it, is the fact that they found a way to balance keeping so many teams in like a rotating tournament, if you will. I think that's kind of cool. I wonder, would you guys be opposed to them introducing a format that was similar in the sense that it included so many teams moving forward, if it was structured better where it's not so RNG based?
Well, I mean, sure. Like, we had no problem coming to the event, and I know EU had their own letter they sent, NA had their own letter they sent with like proposed changes or like, you know, hoping they would come to the table on a few things. That's fine. Like 32 team events can work, and you could have an upper and lower bet, removing the RNG factor obviously, and spreading the prize pool out. So the finals feel a little less going to the last games, hopeless for teams at the bottom, and that's. Always having something to play for is like really important, and you lose that feeling back in the end, the finals.
Yeah, and they started it off like the best way you can go about a 32 team tournament. 3 groups. All the groups play against each other.
RNG seeding, into a placing tournament. So that's the best way to handle that.
Yeah.
But like on to like the point, Didz talked about us like hot dropping. It's like if we weren't in 16th, like we wouldn't have hot dropped them there. But like these guys bridge camped us 2 weeks in a row and ruined 2 games for us in finals. And so it's like, well, screw it. Like we have nothing to play for, like literally nothing to play for. And so might as well just go teach them a lesson or do our best to. Like if you bridge camp us, we'll drop on you. But that wouldn't be a thing if we could have a big game and get to 8th and make $5,000. We wouldn't have done that. We would have gone and tried to have a good game and get to 8th, or something. So that's just a result of the format and that price pool setup. So.
Well, I think one of the Oath guys said it pretty good. We were talking about like it was in one of the discords. Like the weekly survival. Like, what's the difference between you guys catching 9 in game 5 and someone in game 16, right? Why should you guys make more money as opposed to? And they're like, so they had a good like proposal was like, why not make the money instead of first place, the first winner getting 10K for sitting in a center circle or whatever for fucking 9 circles? Why not make it whoever had the most kills? What was the best game, right? And that way, through all 16 games, you have something to fight for until the 16th one. So, like, you could be the 16th game. You could have a 25 kill win, and now you get the 10K. And then, okay, but if game 1 had a 20 kill win, they get 6K, right? So, like, I thought that was a
real smart idea coming from the guy with the 22 kill win.
Listen, man, I don't care about it now. Like, listen, guess what? That 22 kill win means nothing to me now. All right, we didn't do anything in the weekly final.
$500 to your wallet in like 6 months,
But at the end of the day, we didn't get first, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's cool and all, but you still got to win.
True. I don't know. I do like the idea though of doing something where there are more teams. I definitely. From a viewer standpoint, I'm not opposed to seeing like a rotating thing, like the way it's working now. If they did it on kills, like, I mean, hey, more power to them. Like, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that. I'd be concerned about like the uproar that'll come from teams that have been known for playing more passive and might not be, top tier fragging teams. But I'm all for anything that's going to be a great experience for players, coaches, viewers alike. That's going to be hopefully a little bit more fair in the future, but. Yeah.
PUBG is a dynamic game in general, and when you start changing the lobbies up, like for example, all the Asian teams, they play this format in their region like all the time. They have more than 16 teams in their lobbies. They rotate lobbies all the time, so they come into this and they're comfortable looting different spots, maybe like 5, 6, 7 different spots on each map. They've played from different places. They get better at the game by doing that. Like SDK is doing the same thing, and they're learning how to play the game from different situations and different positions, and how to rotate and how to deal with X team or Y team here in their way, and like it just makes PUBG in general better, because like if you add that to the regional play, then every team in that region is going to have to deal with it, learn from it, and get better. So it just makes then the global stage even better. It just a domino effect,
For sure, that's a really good point. Do you how Do you feel, because I know we spoke about it, you know, in the previous weeks, there, but are you pretty optimistic and pretty positive about the format, Didz?
I pretty much said like all they have to do. Like I like the format. I think the weekly like winning thing is fine. They should just take out the prize pool from the winners and just move it to the finals and make it top 8. And I think that would be like fine. I think that would be okay. That's my take on it. But there's probably other things that they can do that would they would highly benefit from. But for me, like that's like the minimum that it should be.
For sure. For sure. I would love. I'm
okay,
still
that's the
shocked.
least they can do.
Yeah.
That's the least they could do, honestly.
Yeah. I would love to see an instance where.
Mime thinks that's dumb. You unmuted my that's dumb, bro.
Oh man, perfect timing there, perfect timing. But yeah, I could talk about the format all night long, you know, and gripe. But there certainly are good sides to it, like Didz said, for sure. There are plenty of benefits. You know, we'll see. I think we'll see the result.
Off your point of like 32 teams, so like I mean, PGC was a 32 team event. Like most globals are 32 team events. You know, they're just multi-week events, and you don't make it to the next week or the week after that. So I mean, like PGC this year will. I mean, if I'm not wrong, it'll be a 32 team event, but you won't. You know, you might not make it to week 4, so or the second month or whatever. However, we don't know how long it'll be.
It's like there's definitely going to be an elimination stage, like an elimination format. That's how like a championships usually are.
Yeah. For sure. I don't know who that was, by the way, that just slid back there.
SDK handler.
Oh, SDK. Okay.
That's my boy Danny right there.
Shouts out to Danny then. Shouts out to Danny. I guess I should have specified it better when I was talking about the 32 teams, because I was thinking less of the elimination per se. So that was my bad.
They're gonna have more events like this in the future. I don't think they're bad as far as like more as promotional material and like, you know, like you can call it like a celebration of the game, you know, a celebration of the esport or whatever. That's not like a bad idea, but definitely we just need some tuning on the format side.
I thought about this a little bit the other day. Like, how cool would it be if, like PUBG 2, right? And the game, this event has gotten a lot of viewership so far. So how cool would it be if they used this type of format to promote PUBG 2 and like had the pros go out and do a launch on PUBG 2 showing the game off on this format? I think it would be a cool format to use, to be honest. And then the next year have the global championship on PUBG 2 in a regular way.
God, please no, this will be like the Erangel thing all over again.
I mean, if there is a PUBG 2, sure, it'd be cool, but yeah, I mean, who knows?
And what's crazy is like kind of what CDC was talking, or CD6 was talking about in the Discord there with the prize pool. Like we're literally with this event, we're on the top 10 ever, which that's insane. And for PUBG, that is huge.
Yeah.
And this is not even the global
this is a halfway point. Yeah. This, like that could go up and like it would be top 5 by the end of this. Like,
exactly.
We're going to be like TI territory with the prize pool numbers. So like we're already
we ain't coming close to TI.
No, no chance.
But like you go to that list of top games ever and it's like TI this, TI, you know, whatever. And then PUBG's like right there on the list, dog. So, you know, when people look at biggest prize pool games ever for PUBG, like we'll literally always be on that list.
Yeah. It's cool.
So, if they catch another Millie, we're climbing. Just release brand new skins. Everyone get out there and buy them. All right.
Right.
The SLR is clean. And the M4, oh baby.
It is
I
dope.
worked really hard to get them.
I can only imagine.
Every week for kills, and I got all the skins now.
Hell yeah.
Yep. That's all it takes.
Never fails, man.
Just don't vote for us if there's a placement point one.
That's another thing. Did I talk about that, by the way? Yo, so for every single week, the number one person that's been selected for pick'ems has gone out and has gone out bad, like really bad. Like,
hasn't made the final. Like,
or out of that, or hasn't made the final. It's like down one was the first one, and then which we eventually overtook, and then 4 a.m. overtook it, and then it's just been downhill for like the first place game. Like 4 a.m. for 2 weeks now, and it's like other than like the 1 week they ended up winning or whatever. It's like they won and then they exploded on pick'ems again, and then boom, it's like derailed down the hill, 23 out of 16. I mean, 32. Like,
Mhm.
you know, it's a brutal freaking tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate for 4AM, but they got it so bad that they lost one of their players. They're
Yeah,
Yeah.
due to health issues. That really sucks, man. Like,
yeah. It's like,
Yep.
yeah, it's like,
Especially one of like their most experienced players. So
yeah, and like you can tell in the gameplay for sure. It's like, you know, we don't know it's like to what capacity, but like, you know, like it's definitely showing. But you know, who knows what's gonna change? But it's like, man, like can only hope like, you know, it's good for them because like, you know, it's a burnout. It's like who knows what, like that's why they had us bring subs. It's like who knows what'll happen. Like you have no idea if like one day your player's just not feeling well at all, and like, you know, it affects
Yep,
the gameplay.
I'm going in this week, boys.
Is there an update on Godvy's situation? Like he had the acute shingles, right? I don't know like how long that takes to get over, and like
weeks.
Is it?
Yeah, I'd
He's
say
probably,
around
he's probably done.
Apparently.
He's probably done.
man, I feel for him, man. That's rough.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Paper
at
is
the same
saying
time,
it's
he's
a,
probably just watching the games on his gold iPhone on
Bro,
his
yeah, he-
hospital bed.
He's made more money than all of us, so we'll his revenge.
He's
Being on the team.
he's sitting in his hospital room or like his
They're
like,
playing.
you know, his,
They're playing from his house,
home.
dude. They're literally at his house.
and he's like he's watching a stream on his gold iPhone, like, you know, and stuff like that. You know, it's, his hospital bed sheets are probably Gucci or something.
They own the building that they're playing in. Like what? Like he's fine, bro. Like
Yeah,
he's
he's-
charging PUBG to play that in their own building. Like he's getting paid just to host the event. He's fine.
dude, he's big brain. He's super big brain. Paper said he's the IGL. I didn't know that the Godby was their IGL. That's even a worse blow.
I thought
Lord.
Crazy was, but I guess yeah, like I could tell now that like Gavi must have been IGLing.
Yeah. That's wild. But hopefully he recovers from the shingles, you know, sooner than
So
later.
we're out here with a whole Madden curse, huh, for the Pick'em challenge.
Yes, dude,
Nah, I
it's a
just feel bad for
curse.
whoever's tagged, man. I feel bad for whoever's tagged.
It's a curse.
Don't vote for us, guys. Don't.
Mm-mm.
Don't vote for us either.
Hey, we're lucky. I'm staying down there, so we're okay.
Yeah, we never even pop up, but like we keep rolling the punches. So.
Oh man. Good night.
You know, I got a business idea for Bizzle when we get home, Sean. We're gonna charge PUBG to host an event at the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania Sonics headquarters. Everyone's win-win.
The bird, brother.
Chinese PUBG is so far ahead; they're just geniuses. Like, oh, when
Yeah,
I
man, and then,
we'll
you know, like-
host it. We'll charge you. Don't worry.
Yo, with these rumors that PGC is gonna be in Shanghai, ooh-wee,
Yeah,
Yo,
you think
man.
4AM already bought the building?
dude,
They bought the
they're
stadium.
about
Probably.
to get everything
They
that
bought
the
the stadium
whole
already.
Oh man. But that's about it in terms of
Tiana's
questions.
signing the lease next week.
Imagine. That'd be interesting to see if it is in Shanghai, but I guess we'll see. Time will tell. Wait, CD6.
They'd have to make changes.
Oh,
Mhm.
week 4 pick'ems are out. Yeah, Gen G is in the lead, boys. They're at
Good.
RIPPO.
Shit.
He had a good run. He'll be back for week 6, but he's gonna take a week off.
Oh no.
Yep. Good luck, Gen G.
Trying to get like he caught the door or
It's the
something. bro,
equivalent
like-
of winning group stage in a PCS. He
Mhm.
pulled an STK. He went too hard in the pick'ems, and STK in
Yeah,
a
no
group
shit.
stage.
Shanghai is completely a rumor. I mean, there's right now they can't even have like crowds or anything else like within like
Mhm.
a PUBG type game. So it is literally a rumor completely. I
Mhm.
mean, I hope it just comes back to Korea and like there's allowed to be an audience and stuff. Like that
That's
would
fine
be-
too. And if vaccination
awesome.
cards are like a thing you need to fly with and stuff like that, if that can help us explore, dude, I'm down. Like, I'll
Yeah, it'd
just
be
stick that
cool.
shit right now, bro.
I just-
I'll take
I just,
my-
like,
I'll take
It
that shot.
sucks like we've been here for so long, like, you know, almost like I mean 2 months already, and like literally seeing the inside of a quarantine facility and a hotel room. Like, I just want to go and visit like all these other places, and we can't. So hopefully we can come back in a time where it's a little more, you know, like okay to explore. But we'll see.
For sure. It would be nice. And I'm sure it would
Yeah,
help
that's great, man.
alleviate.
None of you guys were here for Nations Cup, so you haven't even seen the city yet.
No. Nope.
Rub it in, dude. Keep rubbing her in. Oh wow, Soul's amazing. Trev, you should check it out. I'll get right on that.
Oh man. But is there anything else that you guys want to get off your chest regarding this here game that we all play and love so much?
We could get a clickbait Twitch clip like, man, STK sucks. Someone clip it, we do a bunch of, everyone's talking about on Twitter like the different esports shit talk levels. We could just farm a bunch of Twitch clips right now.
Hell yeah! Like
Didz,
like
you
the
gotta
whole
talk shit about
teabagging
Sonics,
thing?
say Tig's overrated. Like I'll be like, man, hopefully FuzzFace cuts his man bun off soon because maybe it's holding him back. I don't know. Leading into the next couple weeks. I don't know. We'll just say we'll just farm clips right now. Right?
Dude, he actually got a haircut the other day.
Oh, did he? Well, I already took the advice. Too late, Trev.
This whole teabag debacle, man, like it's going nuts. Everyone's like about like esports shit talk and like COD as like the best esports shit talk, and it's like it's because like crap talk and console esports has just been a thing like since it started.
I'm all for it, guys.
Mhm.
For fun shit talk farming. I'm ready.
Dude, like-
Roth's over there telling his team it doesn't matter if we get 13th or 9th, but we're just gonna feed MCG 4 points. So no matter what, Oath can't get the money. No matter what, Oath's gonna have a harder time getting in the money.
Hey,
now.
made it a lot harder for us too.
I know. He's like, well, just screw over the other NA teams. So I'm all for farming clips.
Bro, I put my head down. I'm like, God, I hope that doesn't. I walk back. I'm like, oh, hey, you don't want to see over there, Trevor's over there, like, poking a hole back in the wolf's head. He already doesn't have hair, so he ain't got, like, you can't lose much more. It's going down. Like,
yeah, dude, like Trevor and the kids, man, he's losing hair over it.
Only on the sides, but that's by choice.
Man.
Once a week.
Dude, but
or
yeah,
once
it's
every
like-
2 weeks I go bald on the sides.
Man, like we've been here we're gonna be here over over that like time period for so long. It's like going back home is gonna be a little bit weird.
I've discovered what I love most about America while I'm here. Okay, I've been telling everyone this week, and it's the diversity in food. All right, they don't have good Mexican food in this country. I'm sorry. It's a big part of my life, and I miss it. So I'm just throwing that out there.
It's primarily only good Korean food.
It's so weird. I was talking to my handler and all this morning about it. I was like, the weird thing is like Koreans don't even crave other food because they've never had good other food, man. They know really good Korean food, that's for sure. But they don't even know like never had a good taco or like a burrito or an enchilada or a chimichanga or even just good rice and beans or taquito or like good chili pork verde that's been slow roasting like all day, and you just like pull.
Have any of you guys been to the Indian place? Yeah.
is it good?
We're going tonight. We're going
very
into
good.
this podcast.
I gotta go, man. I
What
love
should I
Indian.
get? What should I get?
You gotta get the butter chicken with the
That sounds
naan bread and the saffron rice. That's the play.
You
Oh,
get all that?
fire.
Elo?
That actually sounds fire.
I gotta go. I love Indian food.
I
man.
might
That-
see you there.
That is the best thing. My handler, he wants to keep going back every time because he is tired of Korean food. I made him aware of that thing. He was like, I'm like, what do you like? When do you guys not eat rice with your food? And he's like, what do you mean? I've been eating rice since I was a baby. Like,
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I've been craving a
wild.
twice baked potato like no other. All right, man. Like that's the go-to, right? And they don't.
Danny
have
said
the-
you don't know shit, Trevor, and once you go to Seoul, you'll see all the diversity that's there.
Okay, I talked
mean,
to
yeah.
Al. My homie goes to Korea
we can.
University. He lives downtown Seoul. Like I trust him.
Nope, you're wrong.
We can't even go to Seoul and experience diversity, man.
by the way, the butter chicken's not on the menu. You have to ask for it. It's called something
Oh,
else.
God.
Oh.
It's the secrets, baby. Let's go. I'm
Butter
ready
chicken
to
and what?
rock. Saffron rice and naan bread. Come on, take notes.
Okay.
Aren't you a coach?
I
Like,
can't hear, bro.
gotta have the strats ready for the team. I'm ready to go. And I see Nomi in chat. Nomi, I'm ready to rock. Let's go. Dinner right now.
Yeah. Is it food o'clock for the boys?
Yep. Come back at 7 and stomp SDK and scrims again. All right.
Play some scrims and more.
No,
like
no
30
one better at
people
scrimming than Oath, baby. No one better at scrimming than Oath.
Right.
Dude,
Man.
that's another thing too, man. Like some of these scrims, man, these Chinese teams, like they're just like,
Oh yeah, the Chinese teams don't give a shit about scrims, by the way.
Scrims are worse than people complain about NA scrims. Like we
People
have
complain about
20-some
NA
people
scrims.
alive.
They've never scrimmed the Chinese teams.
Last week was
Yeah.
the worst. Last week was the worst. Gunner
Yeah,
knows.
it was
You guys
really
weren't
bad.
there.
Mhm.
True. Yeah, you guys didn't even scrim.
I saw
Open
it.
Sonics. You guys didn't even play.
Yeah,
You gotta-
I told the team take a few
That's how
days.
bad.
Yeah, I said take a few days off, take a break, and I'm gonna watch the scrims. And then I watched the scrims, and I said, guys, just play ranked or something. It's not worth it.
It wasn't worth it.
No,
at all.
yeah,
It was a complete
it's like
waste of
just
time.
people seat swapping and just like doing dumb shit, and like you have people like dropping 4 corners across the map. Like, I mean, they like and no matter how many times like we're spamming to take it serious. Like people just don't give a shit. Like it's, I mean,
Yeah, Luke 12 hard peeking on the roof like 3 times.
Well, he thought he had the ping advantage, right? So he was.
Oh yeah, he's so used to that.
Yeah, he's so used to the
Yeah,
ping
yeah.
advantage. He was like,
True.
he doesn't even see me. I'm just gonna sit here. And turns out
True.
he didn't have the ping advantage, so he lost.
Listen, I'll never say another thing. I did NA scrims a couple times this week, and for as much as it is an advantage, it's as much as a disadvantage as well. It is not fun.
Yeah, but you just
Yeah, like,
you learn how to take advantage of the good part really well.
Man, well, don't let me
Just
don't
up in my banter, boys.
I was just say, don't let me stop the ping talk for you guys to get food or anything like that. But I'm all out of questions, guys. I don't want to stop you
That's
from
a
eating or
good
getting the
idea.
scrims.
CD6 hit us with the god idea. Let's get Mime in some NA scrims right now this week.
No,
While he has high ping.
he'll tweet for
let's
7 days about ping.
Dude, Mime's gonna drop 50 kills in a 6-game set and be like, and he'll never get the end of it. Yo, I'm ready. That shit's lit.
Oh my goodness.
baby.
I mean, as of right now, he'd probably farm NA scrims, ping or not, but
Dude, it's so
I
bad.
know.
at least he'd
what I'm-
understand. Like, you know, I know what you're saying, but at least he would appreciate how annoying ping can be.
I think it would be funny.
Yo, Mime, they're telling you to play NA scrims with ping, so you could get 50 kills. They're telling you to play NA scrims from here, so you can play with ping to see what it's like.
Play NA scrims so I can ping fuck people in the ass.
Oh my god!
Okay. What?
Alright,
True.
alright.
True.
Phase 10 after dark.
Right. Okay.
Bleep that in the YouTube pod.
Right. That didn't happen. That didn't
We're gonna
happen.
point that out.
I ain't hear a thing. Well, boys.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna drop 60.
Time for some butter chicken, saffron rice, some naan bread.
Don't follow us there.
Alright.
We had this plan for days now.
I'm gonna beat you there.
Fuck you.
Yeah, don't follow me there.
Oh man. Well, guys, it's been a privilege as well as a pleasure. Didz, thank you so much for joining us, man. I appreciate the insight and you hanging with us and dealing with all the Phase 10 shenanigans. Everybody who came to hang out, thank you so much. Thank you kindly. Any final words, friends?
Thanks for having me on. I could keep talking. I don't know why you guys want to go eat. I want to keep talking, but anyways, yeah, I can come back another time if you guys want me. So.
Next week, brother. Next week if everybody has time.
Anytime, yeah.
For sure. For sure. Well, gentlemen, everybody, thank you guys for your time. Thank you guys for coming on, being a part of it all. And hopefully we can find some time and catch up with you guys next week in week 4.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
All right,
Have a
good
good
night,
one,
guys.
guys.
I'm going to eat my food.
All right, guys. Have a good one, guys. Thank you so much.
Peace.
Yep.